Yeah, so let me just quickly cover what we have covered. We have covered the basics of Active Directory, and we have seen one of the attacks, which is NTLM relay attacks that we quite regularly use in our red team engagements. Now let's talk about domain enumeration. Okay, before domain enumeration, let me just, one thing I forgot to do here. Let me just do that. Okay. Okay. So we were at this moment, right? We had the domain administrator, local administrator hash, but we cannot use this hash for domain authentication. Okay. But what we can do, instead of just checking whether we are the authentication is correct or not, we can extract the LSA secrets from this machine. Okay, since we are local admin, we are able to extract the LSA secrets. LSA secrets are nothing but passwords or credentials that are stored in the registry of the Windows system. So Windows has a habit to store a credential in the registry keys. So that's where if some of the credentials are saved, you can see that. Okay, if you see here, these are some domain cached credentials. We are not interested in that, but we are interested in here. Okay, if you see here, we have in this LSS secrets, we are able to get the credential, domain credentials. Why I am saying domain credential? Because it is, this user is part of this domain, which is delhi.bank.local, and probably this is the credential of this user. Okay, so let's try to verify that. Copy selection. Okay. User is SVC backup. The password is, okay, if you see, that's the same password here. I don't have to specify the name because I am not using local authentication, so the tool, the NetExact tool, will automatically detect the domain name here. Let me hit enter, and we see the, using this credentials, using this domain user credentials, we are able to access this machine as a part of the local administrator group. Since we are part of this local administrator group on this machine, which is this machine, we have this pond here. Okay, it means that this is a valid user, plus this user is part of the local administrator group. If this user was not part of the local administrator group, you will not see the pond here, you will just see plus sign here. It means that at least the authentication is successful. Okay, so now we have one credential here, right? So as I said, in our real world also, when we start our engagements, sometimes we might not have the credentials, right? So this is one of the attacks that you can use to move laterally, plus you will be able to get to access to some credentials. There are some other attacks using which you can get to the credential of a user, but this is one of the scenarios. Okay, now you have one credentials here, basically credential of a SVC_backup user. Now let's go back to the slides. Okay, let me just change the presentation here. Okay, now let's talk about domain enumeration. So once we are inside an Active Directory network and we have access to the credentials of a user, we can enumerate the environment. Okay, we can look for users, we can look for computers, we can look for high privilege users, we can look which users are part of the domain admins group, we can look whether a GPO is applied to some OU or not. These kind of things we can look. So that's where enumeration comes in. Generally, in a breach simulation kind of environment or engagement, we get access, the client will give us access to some sort of credentials, but there are some scenarios in which we even don't get some credentials. So these are there. This is, I just showed one of the ways to access one credential, but for a breach simulations, that is nowadays coming a lot. Because it is costing less to the companies who are opting for breach simulation instead of a proper red team engagement, because red team engagements can go on for a long period of time, but breach simulations are a quick engagements and the client will provide us the domain credential. Okay, but for red teams, I showed you how you can get to the credentials, one of the scenarios. Okay, so never mind, once we have the credential, we can go for domain enumeration. These are some of the tools that you can use for domain enumeration. So let's start with command prompt. So these are some of the tools using this net user domain. You can query the domain users. If you want to access to get information about particular user, you can use this command. To get information about a group, you can use this command. So let me just show you this as well. So let me just do one thing. So I have a foothold on this machine, right? And I showed you that this SVC backup that we just found the user is part of the local administrator group here. Okay, so let me just sign out and then sign back in as this user. I'm already signed in, but let me just do that. Okay, now I have a password of a user. Using that password, I can just sign in on this system. So in the breached assume scenario, you can directly RDP into the system. So using the password. Okay. So now assume this as your test machine, and from this test machine you can test your environment. So what are the things that I just showed using command prompt? What you can see, what you can enumerate. I hope it's visible. First thing is net user / domain. So this command will give, basically this command will query the domain controller, and it will give us all the users that are present in this domain. We see there are some users who are already part of this domain, and if you want to find information about a particular user, so let's take this user, let's take this VM user. Then we can use net user, name of the user, paste it using right click / domain. And if you see, using this command, I am able to query information about a particular user. If you see, I know the full name of the user, whether the account is active or not, when was the password last set, what else here, it is very important. We can see the global group membership, and we see this user is part of domain admins group. It means that this VM is a very high privileged user. Okay, so that's how you can query information about a user. Now let's see how we can enumerate a group. So what you can do, net group / domain. You will be able to find all the groups that are present in this domain, and if you want to query a group, you can just do one thing, copy this. Let's query this domain admins group. Let's copy this net group, then you have to give in quotes because there is a space between domain and admins. And if you see, using this command, you are able to find the members of this group. So there are 3 users in this group, which are administrator, Delhi admin, and VM. These 3 are very high privileged users in this group. So generally we are trying to get access to this user so that we become domain admin for a domain. And once we become a domain admin, it means we have compromised the domain. We can do anything we want. So that's the main objective of our engagement. So one of the main objective of engagement is to get access to a domain admins group member. That's how you can do that. Using this command, net account / domain, you can find out the password policy, and using the domain controllers, you can query out this the IP address of the domain controller, or basically you can not the IP address, but you can query what are the domain controllers who is managing the current domain. So let's quickly do that. First one is, this is very important, net accounts / domain. Why I am saying this is very important? Because you have to know the password policy of a domain before carrying out password spraying or brute force attack. If you are not careful, and if you don't know the password policy of a domain, you are going to lock out your user or maybe some other user. So that is a no-no in a real world engagement. So you have to be very careful and remember the password policy of a domain. If you see in this case, the minimum password age is 1 and the maximum password age is 42. It means that every 42 days this user has to change their password. Then we have the length of password history maintained. It means that it saves the last 24 passwords, so that you can, when you're setting a new password, it should not be from the last 24 passwords. Then if you see, the minimum password set length is 7, which is very weak. Okay, So the minimum password that Redfox advised to our clients is that the minimum password length should be of at least 12 characters. Okay, that's the recommendation advised by NIST as well. Next we have lockout threshold. Okay, this is also important. Lockout threshold is set to never. It means that in this domain there is no lockout. Okay, when you are, it means that you can brute force any number of passwords. Okay, the account will not get logged out. Okay, and that's the duration and the observation window, which is 30-30. It doesn't matter in this environment because it is set to never. Let's suppose the lockout threshold is set to 15 minutes. It means that if if the lockout threshold is, let's suppose, is set to 5, it means that under 30 minutes, if you have entered more than 5 passwords, then your account will be locked out for 30 minutes. Okay, so that's the observation window. So under 30 minutes, if you are spraying or brute forcing password, and if you have entered wrong password 5 times, then your account is locked out for 30 minutes here. Okay, I hope that's clear here. And finding the domain controller, NL test /DC list NL test DC list, name of the domain. Okay, if you see, using this command, I am able to query the domain controllers that are managing this domain. If you see, in this environment there are 2 domains. For this domain there are 2 domains, this is DC01 and DC-back. I hope that's clear. Now again, let me go back to my slides here. Okay, so we have seen how you can enumerate objects in Active Directory using command prompt. We can also use PowerShell to enumerate the Active Directory environment, and one of the PowerShell script is the PowerView. So PowerView is one of the more advanced and feature-rich PowerShell script, which has all the pre-built queries that you can use to enumerate the Active Directory environment. So that's how you can import it, and then you can enumerate the environment using the PowerView. So if you want to find information about domain, you can use getNet domain, and if you want to try to get the find domains SID, you can use this command. How can you get the SID? So this is one of the commands that you can use to get the SID of a domain. This is how you can get the domain controllers. If you want to query the computers, you can use this command, getNet computer. If you want to find out computers that are reachable, you can use getNet computer -ping command. And if you want to find out systems who are using a specific operating system, you can use this command. Okay, why this command is important? Because you can easily query out the outdated system. So using this command, if you write here Windows XP, it will query the domain controller and give you only the systems which are running Windows XP, so that, see, Windows XP is one of the older systems and it might be probably vulnerable. So that's how you can find out those systems. For enumerating domain users, these are the commands: getNet user, and you can find the descriptions of all the users using this command. Enumerating GPU, you can use these commands. Domain OU, you can use these commands. Don't worry, I am going to show these commands. Enumerating GPU is also very simple. You can use this command. It's very simple. Okay, getNet GPU, select display name, and these kind of things. Okay, so let me just quickly show how you can use PowerView to show some of the scenarios that we generally enumerate. Okay, so first of all, I need to have PowerShell open. Let me just increase the size, change it 28. Okay, cool. Let me go to this folder. Actually, I have already downloaded some of the tools on this system, but you guys can also download it. For now, we are going to use PowerView. So let's import it. Import module PowerView. Okay. Okay. If you see, we are getting some error that the system is not able to load this script because it is not digitally signed. So why this error is coming is because of the execution policy. So by default, Windows system will disallow execution of the script. It is not a security feature, but is a precautionary feature. Okay, so that by basically by accident, you guys may not be able to run any malicious script. Okay, but we can easily bypass this. Very simple. But you can do PowerShell -EP for execution policy and then bypass. So you have bypassed the execution policy. Okay, now we have successfully bypassed. Now let's try to load the script again. And if you see this time it is able to successfully load the script. Okay, so let's enumerate the environment. So let's enumerate the domain. So that's the name of the domain, which is delhi.bank.local, and it is part of this forest, which is bank.local. Okay, that's the domain controller. It's already showing here. So now let's see the get net domain SID. Okay, I think it's get domain SID. So that's how you can get the SID of this domain. To get the users, now let's enumerate the users. Okay, here is one of the very important command I am going to showcase here. So don't forget this command when you are enumerating the environment, because let me just show this, then I will tell you guys. Get net user, select SAM account name, comma, description. Okay, basically we are querying all the users and filtering only these properties. Okay, and if you see why I am saying that this is a very important command, because this command will give you all the users and their descriptions. Okay, in my real world engagements I have seen that I think 2 or 3 months back I have seen that for, let's suppose that this is the domain admin. Let's suppose the domain admin's clear text password was in the description property, and I can say that in 10 or 15 minutes of my engagement I have gained the access to the domain admin. So that's how easy it is. If you think that it is that easy, well, it's that easy. Okay, you can easily, there are scenarios where clear text passwords of the users are stored here. By whom? By some system administrator who probably think that this is a safe location to save the password. Okay, but that's not the case, right? You see how simple it is, right? Don't have to exploit anything, and that's what I have seen in many of my engagements, and in few engagements I have get to the domain admin credentials from here. That's one of the very important commands. To enumerate users, you can use get net computer. If you see enter, if you see, it will filter out lot of things. So to filter out things, you can use the pipe operator and then select the specific property that you want to query. So let's suppose in this system I want to query the SAM account name or the DNS host name. Where is it? Okay, not there. So anyway, let me just use the SAM account name, or maybe we can use the name as well. Just copy, select name, and you see it will give all the computers that are present in this domain. Okay. To enumerate group policies or to enumerate OU, we can use get net OU, enter, and maybe let's select the specific property. Let's suppose let's use this where it is. Oh yeah, OU. Okay, so get net OU, select OU. So this is how you can get all the organization units that are present in this current domain. Similarly, to get to the group policy objects, get net GPO, hit enter. If you see, these are the GPOs, and to get to a GPO, let's suppose that you can query out within the display name and then select. So these are the GPOs that are present in this domain. I think this is the one that I created while creating the wallpaper GPO, set wallpaper. So yeah, these 4 are the GPOs that are present in this domain. So using command prompt as well as a Power View script, you can enumerate the environment. Yeah. So another thing, one of the other objective of red team engagement is that you have to see through the files and find is there any sensitive information present in the files, and this is another ways we get a credential of a user. Basically, this is one of my favorite tools, the Snaffler. So Snaffler is going to sift through all the servers and it will try to find open shares, and from those open shares it will try to find files which contains the sensitive credentials, and this is one of the command used by Power Views. Okay, so I am going to showcase Snaffler only. So I already have Snaffler Snaffler downloaded. Very simple. Snaffler, see here, Snaffler -s for std out, -o for output file. Let's give snaffler.log as the output file. Okay, so -s for std out, it means that it will send the output to our standard screen or the standard output screen. So let me hit enter. If you see what it's trying to do, first it is trying to find the computers in the environment, then it will find the open share that are present in this environment, and then it will go through the files and showcase the files which contains the sensitive information. So it's very quick and noisy as well. So don't run this in an environment where client is very sensitive about the traffic. You might get detected. Okay, let me just close this thing. I think it's enough. And if I go here, let's see. Okay, if you see, so Snaffler is showing red here. It means that this particular file contains some sensitive. This particular file contains some sensitive information. And what sensitive information? Looks like it contains. I think this is the user. This is the manager account name, and this is the password of this user. So let's go to this file. I think it's in this folder. I think it's a open share. You can easily access it. So let's go there. Go here. If you see, there is a file. I think there is a script, not a file, but a script. So let's try to look this file. Open with Notepad. And if you see, we have the password of this particular user, which is part of this domain, which is Delhi, and name of the user is cert-mgr, and that's the password. So this is how you can get the credentials of users from shares using the Snaffler tool, and that's how easy it is to get to some credentials. This is one of the ways to get access to credentials. Okay. Okay, now let's see another tool, which is Bloodhound. So Bloodhound is one of the most powerful Active Directory enumeration tool. Why? Because it helps you to visualize the AD environment in terms of graph. Okay, so it will find attack paths for you, and it will show you in a manner that you can easily track from this user how you can reach to some other user. Okay, or from this user how you can reach to some other resource. Okay, so this is very easy to see things in Bloodhound, because enumerating using command prompt or Power View is doable, but you will not get clear picture of the network visually. Okay, so Bloodhound uses Neo4j as its backend database. So Neo4j stores the network object as nodes, as well as it also stores the relationship between these objects in Node.js. In Neo.js. It uses graph. Bloodhound in the background uses graph theory to map the network and to find out the paths. Again, yeah. So Sharphound. Okay. So again, Bloodhound is just a UI tool. Okay. Bloodhound is just a user interface tool. It needs some data so that it can operate on this data, analyze the data, and create paths for you, right? So how you can get to that data? Basically, you can use the ingesters. So Bloodhound has ingesters, which are tools that can ingest data from a domain. One of the popular ingester is Sharphound. So using Sharphound, you can query all the data you need from the domain, and then you give that data to the Bloodhound, and then Bloodhound can process that data, analyze that data, and create paths for you. So using this command, you can run Sharphound and get all the data. Yeah, these are the references. So let me just quickly show you the practical of this bloodhound and show you how you can use this bloodhound basically. So first of all, what I am going to do, first I am going to run, let me just clear this. First I am going to create run sharphound so that I will get the data I need. So I think it's in this folder. So that's the name of the tool, sharphound.exe. Then I will give the option as C. Dash C is for collection method, and I want it to query all the information from the domain. Hit enter. If you see, basically in the background, this tool is making LDAP queries to a domain controller, and domain controller is just giving back the data. Okay. So LDAP, what is LDAP? LDAP is just a protocol to query data from a domain controller. So this tool is in the background. That's what it's doing. If you see, these are the flags for all. It is trying to get information about the groups, local admins, logged on users, trusts, ACLs, RDP, basically many data it is trying to access from the domain controller. So that's the name of the domain it is accessing, and it will in a few minutes, since it is a small domain, it will be quick, but in larger environments it is going to take some time. It depends on the environment. If you see, it's since it's a small environment, it has already query out all the data that it needs, and then it has saved in a zip file. If I show you here, let me go downloads this folder. Okay, I think I ran this tool in this directory, so I have this this tool as well. Sorry, this not tool. Basically, I have this zip file which contains all the data. If you see in this, what inside this zip file, these are all the computers, organization units, which are containers, domains, GPUs, groups, etc., etc. Okay. Basically, then we can feed this data to our bloodhound. Okay. So let's now run bloodhound here. Okay, let me run here. To run bloodhound, first you have to run the Neo4j database. So this is how you can do that. Neo4j console. Now the database is loading and starting, and when it has started, we can run the bloodhound. I think it has started. Now let's run bloodhound. Again, it's a UI tool. A UI window will comes like that, and we can authenticate to the Neo4j using the user and password that I have already set. Okay. So let me just clear this thing. I think I have already ran this before. So let me just clear the database. So it will be a fresh start. Clear sessions. Clear refresh database. If you see right now there are in this database is empty. There is no users, no UUs, nothing like that. Okay. So this is the dashboard of the bloodhound tool. Okay. As I said, it needs some data, right? What we can do? Let me just take this data out. So let me just run the Python server here. No module named Python. Okay, why is this error coming? Maybe using this. Oh, I think that's the error here. Python m http.server. That's why the error here. Now I am basically running a Python server here so that I can download the file from this server from this particular location, which is downloads folder. It is running on port 8000. Let me just copy the name of this tool as well. It's a zip file. Or what I can do, let me just go to the downloads folder. Okay, so that's the name of the file. Let me just copy it. Let me go to the Kali machine. Okay, let's go to this location. Wget. It is hosted at this server, http /10.0.0.5 colon 8000, then the name of the file, which is this file. Okay, so let me download the file. So file is now downloaded. So if I just say ls, so this is the name of the file. What we can do, we can upload this file to the Bloodhound. So let me upload this file to the Bloodhound. So how you can do that? Quickly just upload data, go to the workshop, and then just double click on this file, and it will basically process all the data, analyze the data, and create graph for you. Okay, so all the data has been loaded. We can close this window. Now we can start searching for things. Okay, basically we can start enumerating. So let's enumerate our initial user, which is SVC backup. If you can see, if you just hit control, you will see all the information. So if you see, this is one of the user. So in Bloodhound, this is called a node. Okay, and if I click on this node, you will get information about this particular user, which is this is the display name, this is the object SID, and then password, whenever the password last change, whether the user is enabled or disabled, whether this user is admin or not. These are some of the extra properties you can see in Bloodhound. So you see how easy it is to see things in Bloodhound, right? Okay, let's click on this group membership. So when I click on this group membership, you see, you can drag things in Bloodhound. So let me just drag this. Okay, so this line, if you see here, from this user to this domain users group, this is called a edge. Okay, and if you see, the name of the edge is member of. So it means that this SVC backup user is a member of this group plus is a member of this group. And if you just click here, members, and okay, members, then right click, and if you see help menu, you will see some of the information that the user SVC is a member of domain users group. Okay, that's how you can find things in Bloodhound. Now let's see some of the other features of Bloodhound. So one other thing that I generally do is, let's do this thing again. Let me again find the username here. What I generally do, if you just click on here, and if you click on this outbound transitive object control property, basically it will give you whether information from this user till where you can reach. Basically this user is part of which users. Also it will also give this user has privileges on which groups, objects, other things as well. Okay, it will give that as well. So that's one of the very important commands. Let's go to analysis tab. Here we have some pre-built queries already from Bloodhound. If you want to find all the domain admins, you can just click here, find all domain admins, and you can see this domain admins group has these 3 domain admins. We just also saw through command prompt. Again, if you want to find the Kerberos table users, you can use this. If you want to find, these are 2 Kerberos table users, more on that on some other workshop. This is how you can find Azure Approach table users. This is again, one more important thing. So let's suppose that, as I said, that let's suppose I have compromised this user and I have queried this user in Bloodhound. What I will do, since I have the password of this user, I can right click and mark this user as owned. It means that I own this user. Now one other query that you can do, go to analysis tab and find the shortest path from this user to the domain admin. So I will find shortest path to domain admins, go to domain admins group, and if you see, okay, so that's not the command actually. So that's the command, I think, find shortest path from owned principal actually. This one, find shortest path to domain admins from owned principal. If you click here, it will ask you to select the group, and if you see, from this SVC backup user, how you can reach to this user who is part of the domain admins group. If you see, this whole thing is called a path. So from this user, how you can compromise things and get to this domain admins group. Okay, so basically, if you see, this user is a member of this group, and this group has generic right on this GPO, and this GPO is applied on domain controllers, and this domain controller OU has this DC, and this DC, on this DC, administrator user has the session. Okay, So this is the path that you can take, and you can exploit these privileges like generic right to execute your attack. Okay, more on that maybe I might show this full attack in some other workshop, but this is how you can find paths in Bloodhound. Guys, I hope you have now have an idea about what Bloodhound is. These are some of the references that you can use to refer to get to the tools that I am already using.
Not sure where to begin in cybersecurity? At Redfox Academy, we make it simple. Start from zero and complete a course at your own pace. Our beginner-friendly courses walk you through everything you need to know, step by step. With expert instructors and plenty of hands-on practice, you will be ready to take on real-world challenges. Whether you are interested in penetration testing, application security, we are here to guide you every step of the way. Visit academy.redfoxsec.com and start your learning journey with us today. Plus, you can avail up to 20% discount on our courses. The courses and coupon codes are provided in the lower section of the video.